theaters or something. Like, basically, it's like the top one movie to get a box office that high in one single market. So, I know a lot of you out there are like, what is Nezha? I've never heard of that movie, or I've never heard of who Nezha is. Well, today's video will give you the original story of Nezha. It is going to be different from the film because the films, there are 2 films out right now about Nezha, and they are a retelling of the original story, and I'll briefly touch on what are the differences between the films and the original story. But today, the story time is really going to be focusing on the original story of Nezha, and I hope you like it. If you like it, and if you wonder what the movie is like, please go check it out in theaters. I think you can still really enjoy the second one, even if you haven't watched the first one, because in the beginning of the second movie, there's like a very short, almost like summary of the first movie, or kind of like a background to give you some context before you start watching the second movie. But my suggestion is to watch the first movie before watching the second movie in theaters. And you can find the first movie, I think, on Amazon Prime or for free with ads on YouTube. And trust me, it's definitely worth the time. Oh, and also, I've gotten new nails, and it is Nezha themed. You will understand once you watch the movie, but basically, it's mainly revolving around the 2 different colors. One is like blue, I don't know if you can see, blue like that, and then the other is like red and gold. So yes, story time, and it's going to start right now. In ancient China, during the chaotic Shang dynasty, there lived a noble general named Li Jing and his wife, Lady Ying, protecting Guan, or the mountain pass. For 3 long years and 6 months, Lady Ying carried her 3rd child, a pregnancy shrouded in whispers and fear. One stormy night, as thunder rumbled like the drums of heaven, Lady Ying finally gave birth. But instead of a crying baby, she delivered a glowing, pulsating flesh ball. General Li Jing, a stern man bound by duty, unsheathed his sword. With a single slash, the ball split open, revealing a radiant boy clutching a golden ring, we call it Tianquan, and a scarlet silk ribbon, we call it Huntianling. Suddenly, a cloud of golden light filled the room. A laughing Taoist immortal, Tai Yi Zhenren, appeared. He named the child Nezha and took him as his disciple, declaring, "This child is destined to shake heaven and earth." But General Li Jing frowned, for even then he sensed this boy would bring both miracles and calamity. Nezha then grew swiftly, his divine powers blooming like a storm. At just 7 years old, he wandered to the East Sea, a realm ruled by the Dragon King Guang. Unaware of his own power, he dips his red armillary ribbon into the water and swirls it playfully. The ribbon's magic churns the ocean into a whirlpool, shaking the underwater palace. The shrugs, tossing Aobing's dragon tendons at his father's feet. Here, weave yourself about. It's sturdier than mortal silk. To protect his family and city from the Dragon King's floods, Li Jing disowned Nezha. Nezha, feeling betrayed while seeing his mother collapse in grief and villagers pleading for mercy, sneers at Li Jing. You gave me this body. Take it back, bone by bone. He cut his own throat and dismembered his body, a sacrifice to spare his family. His last words echo through the downpour. No more debts, no more father. Seeing Nezha die, the Dragon Kings left, leaving the civilians unharmed. But Nezha's spirit lingered and visited his mother in a dream, begging her to build a temple to resurrect him. If he gets worshipped for 3 years, he can be brought back to life. So she secretly constructs a shrine, where worshippers can pray to Nezha's statue. When Li Jing discovers the temple, he smashes the statue, yelling, "You caused chaos in life and dare haunt us in death." And this destroyed Nezha's chance to regain a physical form. Yet, Nezha's story wasn't over. His mentor, Tai Zhenren, appeared in a swirl of lotus petals. With a wave of his horsetail whisk, he gathered lotus roots for bones, jade leaves for flesh, divine dew for blood. From these, he sculpted Nezha a new body, eternal, unaging, and can transform into a body with 3 heads and 6 arms to fight. When Nezha opened his eyes, Tai smiled. Your violence served heaven's will. Now go, become heaven's destined warrior in the upcoming war. He gifted Nezha 5 more weapons, including flaming wheels, called folklore, and a fiery spear, called 火箭枪. Nezha then joined the Shangzhou War and actually fought side by side with his dad for the Zhou dynasty. After the war, and Zhou won, of course, he became a god along with his dad and his 2 brothers. That is Nezha's tale, or part of the Chinese mythology stories. This retelling of the original story is based off of what was written in a novel called Investiture of Gods. Investiture of Gods. So, Investiture of Gods. His tale is a paradox. He is both filial, by sacrificing himself for his parents and all of those civilians, and rebellious, which is shown by him defying heaven and dragons. Some of the key differences between the original story and the retelling of Nezha in the recent films are that rather than a sympathetic outcast facing prejudice the overthrow, the process of overthrowing the Shang dynasty by Zhou dynasty. But it also mixes the actual history with a lot of like mythology and Taoism characters. It's very fantastical. It's like one of the earliest